Okay, Taylor. Next thing that we're gonna move on to talking about is actually regarding breathing. And so there's a lot of people who are diagnosed with panic disorder who actually engage in a lot of over-breathing when they're having kind of those physiological signs of panic. And so a lot of the time what people will call that is hyperventilation. Can you think of a time in which you kind of felt that way, maybe experienced anything like that?
We talked a little bit about it last time, and I know that when I went out to the bar and I lost track of friends and I got alone, I was isolated in the bar and I started freaking out a little bit. I couldn't find somewhere to go, so I just started, like a dog.
Like a dog.
Like a dog, yes.
So can you tell me a little bit more about it? Was your rate of air really fast? Shallow or anything like that?
It was super fast.
Okay.
What I remember, it felt like I couldn't even get the air into my mouth. It felt like I was in a room that had no air in the first place.
Okay, so you kind of had that experience of you weren't getting enough air into your body.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like exactly what we're kind of talking about today. And it's awesome that you can recognize that and see that that happens for a lot of folks. They can't really label the fact that that kind of happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So let's just kind of talk about that physiological feeling for a little bit. So first off, I just want to get this straight out of the way, is that feeling of hyperventilation is actually not dangerous. And even though you kind of feel like right then in that moment you're not getting enough air and a lot of people think that they're going to pass out, that's actually extremely rare for anybody to pass out while having a panic attack or hyperventilating. Have you ever had an experience of losing consciousness due to hyperventilation?
No.
No? Okay. Awesome. So that's always, things can be really upsetting and scary at the moment. I think that's something that we just kind of want to keep in mind while we're doing a lot of these exercises.
Okay.
So when you kind of get that feeling, when you start to overbreathe, there are times when that's a really adaptive thing for the human body. For example, if you went out and you decided to do a huge sprint, and not even just a nice calm run, but a really, really fast sprint, your body's going to require a lot more oxygen in order to, give your muscles what they need to do that. However, at times when we're not really using that oxygen or putting it out, what happens is that we breathe a lot more quickly and our blood gets full of more oxygen. But an interesting thing that actually happens is that even though your blood is full of more oxygen, your blood pathways start to constrict and you're unable to actually drop that oxygen off to the tissues. So what happens is that there's actually an overabundance of blood in the oxygen. And so even though that's happening, your body's still not getting enough oxygen that it needs.
Okay, so it's I may be breathing in 1 million miles per second, but it's not really going anywhere.
Right, and especially one of the places that it's the pathways constrict to is to the brain. So your brain is actually not getting enough oxygen when it needs it.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes more sense. So it's just breathing in, but it's everything constricts.
Right.
So where does the oxygen go?
So you've just got too much in it in your blood. It's something that we would actually refer to as an alkaline blood. So you've got too much oxygen in your blood, and it doesn't really have anywhere to go.
Okay.
And so that's one of the biggest issues, and that can actually lead to a lot of those feelings of being lightheaded, of being really, really hot, of being kind of sweaty. So you're basically going into a fight or flight mode without having anything to fight or run away from.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. I get that.
Okay, awesome. Do you have any more questions about that?
No, you cleared it up pretty well. So, yeah.
And there's one thing I do want to emphasize before I move on is that this is really, really common. It's more than half of folks who do have panic disorder and have panic attacks do have this physiological experience of hyperventilation.
Okay, no, that's nice to know. Not all, but thank you.
So, I mean, what we're going to move on to today is we're going to try and give you some skills that you can use to kind of work with this when things do happen in your everyday life. So we're actually going to look at breathing, and we're going to practice breathing, which I know sounds really, really silly. You know, it's something that we do automatically in our everyday lives. You don't usually think about it.
Right.
So we're going to practice these breathing exercises, and it's really going to help us. It's going to help you to focus and be able to approach some situations that in the past may have been really difficult for you to do, especially due to anxiety.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is, can you do me a favor? It's going to feel a little bit weird. I'm going to have you put one hand right here and one hand on your stomach, like kind of right above your belly button, right there.
Okay.
And if you would just go ahead and take a really deep breath for me. And can you tell me which hand kind of got raised up?
I guess it was more so my belly.
Your belly? Okay, awesome. That's good. That means that you kind of are naturally a diaphragm breather.
Cool.
And that's something that we're going to look for today. So a lot of people, when they breathe, actually breathe from their chest. And that's not as effective and actually getting those deep breaths in as your diaphragm.
Okay.
So every once in a while, I'm just going to ask you to put your hands in the position, and that's what I'll be referring to. You can put them down for right
okay.
now. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go through and practice this breathing exercise.
Okay.
And so I'm just going to get our tape ready.
Okay.
So we're going to have this tape. This is going to be a tool for you for practicing at home.
Okay.
So another thing that we want to look at right now is that, when you start to hyperventilate, it gets really, really fast. It's really fast breathing, and we're going to try and work on bringing that back and slowing it down.
Okay.
And not only with that, is that sometimes when you hyperventilate, it's kind of really short breaths. It'll be really short in and out over and over again.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on those nice deep breaths.
Okay.
And it's really good. I found it to be very useful. It's going to be kind of a weird word to use, but you can bring the air all the way straight down to your diaphragm with your belly, and you're going to kind of just let it ooze out of you.
Okay.
So I know it's kind of a silly,
Yeah,
but I find that
that.
it's a really good word to actually describe it. And instead of having it be a out, we're going to let it slowly just kind of come out.
Okay. Flow.
Yeah, just kind of flow right out.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And so we're just going to go ahead and start with maybe just going through it once or twice, and then after I get your feedback about the pacing and things, then we're going to move on and start the recording and do it for a little bit longer.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so if you want to go ahead and get your hands in the position, you can close your eyes if you want to. And we're going to breathe in when I say 1,
Okay.
and when I say relax, you're going to let it all out, okay?
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
So 1, relax. 2, out, relax. 3, out, relax. 4, relax. Okay. So you just want to come back. Can you give me, how was that pacing for you? Was that a little bit forced and uncomfortable?
The break between the final number and the start of relax was a little quick.
Okay, so
maybe-
a little bit more time for that breathing in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. So there's one thing that I kind of want to start with and talk about before we actually dive into really, really practicing this. And the fact of the matter is that this kind of has a meditation aspect to it. And is that something that you've ever had, any exposure to in your past? Have you tried meditating before?
No, not at all.
Okay, so this is going to be something that's a little bit new for you. And it's actually really simple, and it's really, really easy. And the biggest thing I'm going to emphasize is that this will not come right away, and that this is going to require practice. And so it may seem like a big thing, but it's super, super simple, and eventually this is going to be something that you can do in many aspects of your life. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is to really, while you practice this breathing, is to focus on the breathing itself. And so I'm sure that you know thoughts come and go all the time. They're always kind of running, they're always kind of going. And so while you're doing this, I'm going to ask that you kind of really focus on that breathing. I find that the hand on the stomach really helps me for that.
Yeah.
To focus on it. And you're going to have thoughts that come up, and that's totally normal. I'm going to ask you not to push them away, but instead of pushing them away, acknowledge and redirect your thoughts back to that breath.
Okay.
Over and over again, and your thoughts are gonna drift away, you're gonna be distracted, and all of a sudden find that you're not focusing on your breath, and that's okay. And I just want you to be able to acknowledge that and kind of redirect your focus back to that breath. Do you have any questions about that?
No, not really. Just keep coming back to the breath, and if it comes, whatever.
Awesome.
Okay.
That's great. You've got a very good and accepting standpoint on that, so that's awesome. So I'm going to start the tape in just a second here, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to count all the way up to 10, and then we're going to come all the way back down to 1.
Okay.
So it's a little bit longer than what we just did last time, but so I'm going to record this, so this is something that you can do at home. You can use this as a tool to help you practice.
Okay.
That sound okay?
Yeah, so
Awesome. So if you want to go ahead and kind of get your hands in that position. Okay, and you're gonna start. Okay, Taylor, so let's kind of jump right into the breathing exercise.
Okay.
You can close your eyes if you want to. Put your feet up. I would suggest putting your feet right on the floor. Kind of feel that pressure on the ground on the soles of your feet.
Okay.
Okay, and so we're gonna go ahead and start by breathing in with 1 and out. Relax. 2. Relax. 3. Relax. 4. Relax. 5. Relax. 6. Relax. 7. Relax. 8. Relax. 9. Relax. 10. Relax. 9. Relax. 8. Relax. 7. Relax. 6. Relax. 5. Relax. 4. Relax. 3. 2. Relax. 1. Relax. Okay. So if you just want to go ahead, open your eyes, come back to the room at your own pace whenever you're ready. So I just stopped the tape.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. How was that for you?
It was pretty comfortable, actually.
Pretty comfortable?
Yeah. It was a little nicer having someone kind of guide it.
Right.
I feel like it was a little bit easier, I guess. Like I said, comfortable, I think is the best term I would use.
Okay, and so that's going to be great for at home. You're going to have the tape of it, so that's going to be a really good starting off point for you to practice.
Okay.
Eventually, so just to get started off, I do want to say that I'm not going to ask you to go out into the everyday world and do this right away. Like I said before, this may in some ways kind of be a skill for you to apply in your everyday life, but it's just that it's a skill. So we're going to work on it and practice it a little bit beforehand, okay?
Okay.
And so that actually really leads us into our homework. So come on over here to you. And so this is, it's going to be, kind of reminiscent of some of the other homeworks that we've done in the past, but this is going to be a breathing skills record.
Okay.
So I'm kind of hoping that I can ask you to practice this maybe twice a day. And I will say that for my other clients, this is something that has been really beneficial. And I think personally that it would really help you as well.
Okay.
So, here's a slot for the date. So you get to write the date of, it's got enough for a whole week at very least. And it's also got room for practicing more if you would like that.
Okay.
And so I'm going to ask you to kind of rate on a scale of 0 to 10 your concentration on breathing and counting and your success with breathing.
Okay.
So for this scale, 0 is going to be like, for example, 0 success or 0 concentration. And a 10 is going to be like, I was so concentrating on, my breathing and my counting,
Right.
or, I was outrageously successful with my breathing exercise.
Okay.
And 5 is going to kind of be that middle ground there.
Right.
So I'm just going to ask you to go ahead and record that. You can talk about, concentration on breathing and counting. How was it for you to just sit there and kind of concentrate on that? Were you constantly fighting with your thoughts that come up? Or were you just gently acknowledging them and redirecting?
Okay.
And then at the end of it, how successful was that breathing? Sometimes people at the beginning have a really hard time with it, and I think that you'll see as practice goes on, you'll get better and better at it.
Okay.
And in addition, this is something that we'll go ahead and we'll sit down, review, and talk about your experience for next week.
Okay. Oh, I guess that sounds good. And then, so how I know I can see that it's twice a day, but for how long?
Right. So I'm going to suggest that you are going to go ahead and do just like what we just did, that counting up through to 10 and then back down to 1.
Okay.
So that's going to kind of vary by person depending on their pacing.
Right.
I would say it's probably going to take maybe 10 minutes each time.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome. And does that sound like something that you feel comfortable doing and carrying on with?
I mean, yeah. It'll be something new.
Right.
Maybe once I get in the hang of it, it'll be okay.
Right.
Just kind of getting in, and it's going to be a little bit difficult.
Okay.
After that at the beginning, but yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask you to go ahead and take that and fill it out for this upcoming week, and I really look forward to hearing more about it in the upcoming week.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. I'll do my best.
Okay. And see.